Well, hello. Welcome to this episode of Weekly Word. Father Ed Estock here.
Brother Dominic.
And we are contemplating the 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time. We're getting close to the end. There's only 34. And we have the great Shema Israel. Now, that's my attempt at Hebrew. It is the Old Testament instruction of Moses to the people of Israel that they should love the Lord their God with all their heart, mind, strength, and soul. And, of course, this is so important to the Jewish people that Jews have been wearing it on a headband at their forehead. They've been wearing it on a wristband. Before wristbands were cool, the Jews were wearing the Shema Israel on their sleeve. And of course, you may be familiar with the mezuzah, which is the metal tube on the doorpost that has the Shema Israel, Deuteronomy 6, written on it on a little piece of paper inside there. And so they touch it every time they leave and when they come in from the house. So this Shema Israel is really important. And Jesus is asked by a rather insincere scribe, what's the greatest commandment? So as always with the scribes and the Pharisees, it was a trap or a trick. And so Jesus gives the answer instead of all the 10 commandments. He says, what's the greatest? Well, so he quotes Moses, love Lord God, all heart, strength, soul, and mind. And then he adds a little known, I guess, verse from the book of Leviticus, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then he says, all the commandments of the Lord are contained in these two. So
it really is a beautiful summary of the Jewish faith, but and the Christian faith. And I think in both Judaism and Catholicism, people can get so overwhelmed with all the rules and regulations, but it's really helpful to know that the thesis is very clear. Jesus defines it very upfront. And so, when people might, I guess, bash the Catholic Church and say, "Oh, all these rules, everything," really, every rule and regulation that the church has is all in order to love our neighbor and especially, honor and love our God. And so it's actually kind of an opportunity for us to safeguard us and to encourage us to be loving. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the great thing. But also, what Jesus does is not only make it simple, but he shows the interconnectivity of God and neighbor. The fact that you look at the cross, and it's also a symbol of the Shema, or of what Jesus is saying. So there's a vertical aspect of our faith, where we're supposed to love God, but then there's a horizontal aspect where we're supposed to stretch our arms out to love each other. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Jesus is really encouraging us, because I think there's two extremes that we can go. The hyper religious, where we're saying, oh, I got to go to church, I got to pray, and then in overemphasizing this very solitary time in prayer, then we're actually not focusing on loving other people or excluding opportunities to serve other people. And then there's the other people who are saying, well, I don't need to go to church because I just need to be a good person. But then what they're losing out on is the fact that actually what church does is it orients us to love other people.
Right. And so Father Dominic was mentioning in his interaction with, and of course being a millennial himself, that the real temptation of our culture today and our society is to abandon the first of the greatest commandment, the Shema, to love God with all your heart, strength, soul, and mind, and to simply make being a good person as a worldly project. And so, you know, people are taking responsibility for themselves for the divine project, and that's nice. I mean, they're good. At least they're trying to be good people. But the fact is that what Jesus has tried to convince us, and is that you cannot accomplish the second commandment without the first commandment, because it's really not our work, the love of neighbor. It is God's work in us. And so without the first commandment, to love God, we are going to be pretty impotent to accomplish the second commandment. And so, I was thinking that, like the Jews, right, putting this Shema near their forehead and on their wrist, and at the doorpost coming and going, they're trying to put something at the top of mind. Literally, if I would put it on a headband, I guess I could wear it on my headband. So every time I looked in the mirror, at least I'd be reminded of what is my mission, or what is my thesis, what's the foundation of my life. So I'm wondering if we asked ourselves, what is the fundamental orienting principle of your daily life? Is it to be the best that you can be? That's like the army, right? Be all that you can be. Is it the Matthew Kelly, be the best version of yourself? What is it? Is it wellness? Is it uh, economic security? Is it prowess in your chosen career or your work? Is it dominance in your family? So we are all following some commandment. And so the Lord is simply reminding us that we need to put back in the first position that which is first. And so maybe as people of faith, we could examine what is occupying the priority spot in my life strategic mission and planning. You say, "Well, I don't have them. I'm easygoing. I don't have one." Oh yeah, that's one. It doesn't look like one. I know it looks like the couch and your cell phone, but that's one. To take care, to only do what I absolutely want to do and that makes me feel comfortable to do. Well, there it is. You could write that on your headband, and you can serve your own mission. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe you you might wholeheartedly say, I my I give my whole heart to Jesus. And yeah, I think in a lot of ways, uh, going to a holy hour once a week, and church and rosary and all this stuff. Um, and so if that's where you're at, then see how the Lord is calling you from that to greater love. Because I think that's where the great disconnect happens is, oh, no, Father, I'm doing all the things I need to do. But that prayer is not the end all, is not the end. That prayer is really just a place where Jesus sends us, and sends us to uh, with better equipment to love. Because I think in my life, what I find is that a lot of my interactions, I can leave thinking, I could have loved them and been more attentive in this way. I could have been more present. I could have, and that's why I need my prayer. Is I can go to prayer and hopefully come back the next day with a heart more full of love.
yeah, we got a lot to work on. See
All
you in
right.
church.
See you.